Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm wet. I'm Sean. Bugsy's wet. And this is episode 173 of Tottenham Walks. Hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things you love. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like button for me. Smash the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. Guys, I'm sorry there's been such a thin amount of content this week. There's been really nothing to talk about. Before we get on to the Southampton game, guys, just want to say, amazing result last night. Arsenal getting dumped out of the Europa League. And I'll tell you what, their manager Amorim, who's been touted as a potential suitor for Tottenham Hotspur managerial position should Antonio Conte depart, he didn't do himself any harm last night. You see the 3-4-3 that he plays with front foot aggression, with a high line and the press, and he made an Arsenal team that have been, considered one of the most attractive, most effective and balanced football teams in Europe this season, look very average. Most pundits would say that Arsenal were in the top 3 or 4 teams in playing superb football to such a high standard. Maybe only competing with Napoli and Benfica and maybe 1 or 2 others. But Amorim's setup made them look very average, and it was very impressive. Do I think that he's a candidate on the shortlist? Should he be on the shortlist for a Tottenham job? That should Conte walk away soon? Well, look, I don't personally think so. He'd be the bottom of my list, but there's certainly some benefits to him coming in as a project guy, and that is that he does like to play the similar system to Conte, at least in formation, and that makes it a little bit less. There's a few less unknowns around what the Tottenham squad would do right now if you pivoted to a back 4, which would be the case with most of the other managers that are mentioned. You've got Pedro Porro and you've got Destiny Udogie. How well are they going to be able to adapt to a left back and a right back situation? Time will tell. I'm not saying they can't, but they haven't really played that system before at Udinese, or obviously at Sporting or Manchester City, in the case of Porro. And obviously there's a benefit as well to going to a back 4, and that is that you only really need 1 world-class centre-back. Ideally you'd still get 2, but if you do, in the summer stick with a back 3 system, Tottenham really need to go out and buy 2 centre-backs of really high calibre quality, and that's not always going to be easy to do. And look, Amorim's a good manager, but if you look at their league form, I think Sporting at 4th at the moment, which is kind of unforgivable for a team like Sporting in the Portuguese league. So, don't necessarily let yesterday's performance entirely cloud your judgment. He's still got a lot to learn, a long way to go. But listen, maybe not now, but maybe one for the future. He does look like a very intriguing young manager with some cool ideas and a nice ethos and style of football that he likes to present, at least when we've seen him play, when I've seen him manage. Look, guys, we're not going to worry about managers today. We're going to quickly worry about, it's pissing with rain, so I'm going to stop soon. I'm going to give you my Southampton thoughts. Look, Tottenham are 4th in the league. We can go 3rd by beating Southampton. Manchester United obviously on FA Cup duty, so we go into the international break in 3rd place. It'll be awesome to get there and put the pressure on the other teams around us. The top 4 race is really heating up. I think we still have to play all of them, all of our competitors in the final 11 games of the season. Man United we've got at home, Brighton we have at home, Newcastle and Liverpool we both play away from home. I think we've got Brentford away as well. So, we've got all of the tough games to come, and how we perform in those games will obviously dictate how we finish. But you do want to obviously take the opportunity to go to places like Southampton that are bottom of the league and that are struggling with their fortunes right now, and put in a commanding performance and try and regather and continue that momentum that started after the Nottingham Forest game. One thing I would say is that the bottom half of the table is so ridiculously close. I think there's 6 or 7 points that separates 20th from 12th. So 9 teams are separated by 7 points. Any 3 of those could currently go down. And so, you know, you're going to be fighting, whenever anyone plays any of those teams, that you're not going to be fighting, you know, a team that looks like they're 20th in the league. You're going to be playing a team who is fighting for their lives and like an animal backed into a corner. You have to be wary of them, right? You should be able to go there and be confident that your competence can outperform them on the day, but, you know, give them the respect that they deserve. They're in a relegation battle and will be, you know, fighting for every inch to stay up and save themselves. How does Tottenham go about doing that? For me, I think it's pretty simple. I'm sure you've all seen the statistics around Sonny and Perisic and the kind of consequences of when they play together versus when they don't, what it means on Tottenham's outcomes in games, on Sonny's ability to score goals, etc. You know, I've been saying it since September. I think it was about middle of September when I first noticed, using the Y-Scout tool, the average positions of the players on the team and how much Perisic's his you know, altitude on the pitch, generally speaking, invades the natural space that Sonny would like to occupy for himself. It also means that the opposition naturally kind of lean into their right down our left to kind of protect themselves. And obviously you saw it for most of the first half of the season, the amount of space that Emerson Royale had down his right hand side, because teams knew that he couldn't really do much with it on the final ball. So there's definitely a consequence to having Perisic and Sonny in the same team. I'm not saying that Perisic is entirely responsible for Sonny's, you know, lacklustre season. I don't think that's the case at all. And look, Perisic has also contributed things, so it's a complicated and a complex kind of argument, but I do think that there is an impact, and it's one that I think over the last few weeks we've seen we have a better outcome, generally speaking, when Ben Davies is playing on the left-hand side, and that's where I would go for the Southampton game. If Ben Davies is on the left, then the back three obviously picks itself in Romero, Dyer and Longley. On the right, you can go either way, but I think because you've got the more balanced and defensive side of Ben Davies, I think you've got the option to go and put Pedro Porro in, and I want to see what he can do with more minutes, more game time, and see if we can continue to see his performances increase and the momentum in his confidence continue to develop. In the middle, look, you could pick any three of the three that are available, any two of the three that are available, but I think the likely one is going to be Højbjerg and Skippy. I do feel a little bit sorry for Pape Sarr. He never did anything wrong when he got his minutes, but he finds himself third in a three-horse race to get those two spots. And I think that there's no reason at the moment to change that. However, if Højbjerg does start to look leggy, then I do want Conte to have the confidence to make that change and bring Sarr in, because he's always looked assured and calm and collected when he's taken his chances too. So we'll go with Højbjerg and Skippy. And then on the in the front line, I think you don't change it. I think you play Sonny on the left. I think you have Harry Kane up top, and I think you play Richarlison on the right hand side, Decky off the bench if necessary, depending on what happens. But I don't necessarily want the three to stay rigid to their positions. I'd like to see a bit more fluidity and dynamism to the three. Sonny, I think, is often very, very more capable and creative when he's coming centrally or on the right hand side when he dips in and uses his left foot to go for the top locker. Also, I feel like with Richarlison, whilst I probably would have him start on the right, I'd like to see him often get to the back post so that he can be on the end of some of those amazing crosses that Pedro Porro is capable of doing, that Emerson Royale isn't. And look, Sonny's not a guy who heads the ball, so it'd be nice to see Richarlison and Sonny do a lot of that kind of interchange throughout the day. In terms of the result, I think it's going to be a competitive game, but I think ultimately Tottenham will win 2-1, and we'll make it look more difficult than it needs to be, but we're still going to get the points. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. It's the last day of me being 38. Tomorrow I turn 39. Sucks. And they're right, Bugs. Yes, it is. Like, share and subscribe, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.